Hi, and welcome to this tutorial. I'm Mr. Aguilar. Today we're going to be doing one-point perspective. So what we have set up is a template with four boxes that are spaced equal distance. We have a horizon line going through the center of the paper, and we have a single vanishing point in the center. This is called one-point perspective. If we had two vanishing points, it would be two-point perspective, and if we had three vanishing points, it would be three-point perspective. So today I'm just going to show you a simple way of creating four boxes in three dimension using a one-point perspective. Quick note, anything above the horizon line is going to give you the sensation that you're looking up at something. We call this the worm's eye view. Anything below the horizon line, you're looking down at something. We call this the bird's eye view. And then anything directly on the horizon line is your perspective, your point of view, right? So that is your eye level. So we're going to start right here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this clearly, and then I'll zoom out. I'm going to be using color guides, so anything that's colored is something that you would draw very, very lightly, so that would be a light guideline. And then anything that is dark is something that you would darken in as a solid black line. So let's begin. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect all my facing corners to my vanishing point. I'm going to lock up that layer so you guys can see it. Wrong thing. There we go. So I'm going to pick a color. I'm just going to go with a blue, and I'm going to keep my stroke down. So we do this by hand with pencil, but it's easier for me to show how to do the basics of perspective using Illustrator because I can color code, and then if someone misses a step, I can go back and show that step. So let's get started. I'm going to zoom in real fast, and we're going to go from each corner that is facing the vanishing point. So this corner is not facing the vanishing point, and we're just going to draw a line, a guideline that is connecting them. So I'm going to go 1 to 2, and it's important that when you do this that you hit your target. If you miss your target, it's going to make it a little bit off, and you want all your points coming right back. Now my vanishing point is bigger than I usually do it. This is just basically so you can see it. One thing I want to do is I want to go correct this guideline right here, because I feel that it's a little off. So again, I'm just going to change that. Just leave it like that. Okay, so now that we have our guides going back to our vanishing point, we just need to select a point, any point back here in the background that we're going to use. Now, the important thing to understand is what we are doing is we are going to be doing lines that are parallel. So I'm going to create another line like this back in space that's parallel. And I'm just going to pick a line. I'm just going to pick a point. So I'm going to say right here is fine. And I'm going to drop this down right to there. So this is going to be dark. Okay, so this is going to be a black line. The next thing I need to do is create another parallel line, or a line that's perpendicular to this one. That's a 90-degree angle. And we're going to go straight across. You will find that in perspective drawing or linear perspective, you're going to hear math terms. It is a mathematical way of drawing in 3D. And once I have my two parallel lines, so these two lines are parallel and these two lines are parallel, they're perpendicular right here at a 90-degree angle, perpendicular at a 90-degree angle. Well, now I have my points where I can connect. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect, come down here and connect. And you can start to see how we have a three-dimensional box. Now, the last point I need to connect are these two. So I'm just going to come and do that. I'm sorry, I put these in the wrong layer. Okay, so let's do that. And there you go. So I have my first box in 3 dimensions going back to that vanishing point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift over to this side and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to create 3 guides and make sure I'm in the right layer this time. And I'm just going to go from each corner down to that vanishing point. You want to be accurate when you're doing this. You don't want to have lines that are going someplace else on your vanishing point because it'll throw the whole thing off. So you got to be really, really careful. This looks like it possibly is easier to do on the computer in Illustrator, but it's much easier to do it by hand with the ruler, and it's actually a lot quicker. The one thing that you can do a whole lot faster is fill in your values. So now that I have my 3 lines, my 3 guidelines, again, your guidelines are going to be light and they're going to each corner. Okay, so now I'm going to pick, again, I'm just going to pick an arbitrary spot in the background and I'm going to draw a parallel line to this line straight down. So I want to make sure I'm in my right layer real fast. Get this. Okay, so I'm just going to go here and I'm going to drop it straight down until I intersect. So now that I have that parallel line, I'm going to draw my next parallel line, which again is perpendicular to my vertical line. So I have this line that is parallel to here. I have this line that is parallel to here, forming a 90-degree angle, forming a 90-degree angle, and then I can see where I can connect. So I'm simply going to connect this. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to connect it. And again, this is a simple process. We're doing it 4 times. Now, the reason we're going to do it 4 times, repetition. If you do it once, you're not going to remember it. If you do it twice, you might remember it. But if you do it 4 times, it's something that you're going to get a hang of because you're going to feel the rhythm of it. Because basically when we're drawing in linear perspective, you're doing a lot of the same things over and over again. It's only when they all come together that you see things like structures and buildings. So now that we have those, I'm going to go down here. I'm going to pick a different color for my guidelines just to differentiate. I'm going to go with a magenta. Let's see. Let's go with this magenta right here. And we're going to do the exact same thing. So we have 3 corners, again, all facing that vanishing point. So these are the corners that I am going to use. Go to this one. Go right up there. And again, I want to make sure I'm accurately hitting the exact same point. And again, you're going to see the exact same process. So let's draw our lines. I'm going to pick, again, a line that's arbitrary, right? Meaning I'm not measuring it out. And I'm just going to go and draw a parallel line straight across. Then I'm going to draw a perpendicular line, or a line that's parallel to here. And I'm going to go that straight down. Now, once I have my 2 lines, again, this one is parallel to here. This one is parallel to there. They're forming a 90-degree angle, meaning they're perpendicular. Now I have my endpoints and I can basically connect it to the front. And that's what I'm going to do. Come here and just connect that to the front. I got one more line that I need to connect. And again, by now you should see it is pretty repetitious. Okay, so we have 3 boxes done. So you guessed it, we're drawing 3 lines, guidelines, to our vanishing point from the 3 corners that are facing it. And again, all guidelines are light. You do not want to draw these lines dark. Quick note, if you want to draw a light line, just hold the pencil farther back. So don't be so close to the tip. Just go to the back of the pencil, use your ruler, and you'll get a nice light line. Okay, let me lock that up. I'm going to do one more. And by now you should already know what I have to do. Okay, so by now you should know that I got to draw another line in the background. Again, I'm just picking a spot arbitrary. You can measure it out so they're all equal if you want. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to draw my parallel line, and then I'm going to drop it at a 90-degree angle, which gives me another parallel line. I'm going to connect these two. I'm going to go back up here and connect. Now, when you're doing perspective for the first time, I would recommend that you don't erase your guidelines. I'd leave your guidelines up. And then I'm going to draw another one connecting from here to here. And this might be simple, but we will take the same technique for constructing a room. And this right here can become a couch. This could become an entertainment section for a TV, and you put another box on top of it for your TV. You could put a third cube in here, and that would be your coffee table. So that's something that we're going to graduate to. So right now, we just need to get the fundamentals of how to do perspective drawing. So I'm going to take the front and move these up. I got to do a little housekeeping here with my file. Once I have that done, good. Okay, so I just made sure my boxes are in front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a value layer, and this is what you're going to shade with the pencil. So here's my value scale. 1 being the lightest, and you could always make 1 white for the white paper, and then 2, 3, and 4 being my darkest. So what I want to do is I want to say that I want to pick, again, I'm going to do my values. Let me type that in here real fast. Value. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to have my light source up here. So I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of an indicator so you can see what I'm talking about. Let me get into the value, come in here. Okay, so I'm drawing a little. This is going to be my light source. Make this smaller. Right. And let's make it this color. Just turn it around. Okay, so this represents my light source, just so you guys have an idea of what we're talking about when we start shading. So my light source is going to be above these two boxes, which means this bottom part is going to be facing away from the light. So that means these bottom parts are going to be our darkest values. The fronts of our boxes are also facing away. So we're going to say that this will be number 3. And then we could say these two right here, which are somewhat getting light, those are going to be number 2. So again, this is our value chart. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay in my darkest values. Okay, so I'll come in here with my tool. Now this is one thing that I can do faster in Illustrator. This is the part that takes time doing it by hand because you're going to have to shade. So I'm going to do that to both of these. Again, these are facing away, so the light source is above these. Okay, so it's important to understand that. Okay, and then these two are facing away from the sun, so the sun is behind this, right? So this isn't getting direct light. So I'm going to say that's number 3. So I'm going to select my color, number 3. And if you remember drawing fundamentals, you can control these values simply by the way you hold your pencil. So if I want a dark value, I'm closer down on the pencil, so I'm here on the pencil. And if I want my lightest values, I'm simply back here on the pencil. So you can control your values simply by hand placement. And again, I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. And you're going to see how this is going to start looking 3-dimensional. Okay, and I'm just going to lock those in place. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my number 2 value. And then we'll look at the bottom. Okay, and I'm probably going to do the bottom a little bit faster because it's really not necessary to see everything. Okay, so there are my values. So you can see how this starts to look 3-dimension. And I'm going to cheat a little. So I already know I need this value, right? So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to copy and paste that right down here because I can. And again, I'm trying just to move a little bit faster. Now I'm going to put in my other values. So I know these sides right here are facing the same way these are. So my two sides need to be the exact same. So I'm just going to come in here, draw that in. We're just about done. Okay, lock those up. I'm going to come over here and do this one. Okay, and now the top parts are getting direct light. So you could leave the top parts white, but just for the demo, you know, I'm going to give them a value. I'm not going to say anything in here is absolute white. And I want you guys to see it against the white backdrop. So again, I'm just going to come in here. And there I go. The one thing we're not doing right now is we are not dropping our shadows. So I'm not like casting any shadows. That is for a later lesson. A little bit off right there, so I'm going to take this point and just raise it up just a bit. Okay, so let me zoom out so we can see what we did. So there are our 4 cubes going back into perspective using a 1-point perspective drawing. Our horizon line is right here. When you have the objects above the horizon line, you are looking up. Again, that's called a worm's eye view. And when you have your objects below the horizon line, you are looking down. That's called a bird's eye view. So this is our intro lesson to perspective drawing, and there'll be more videos to follow.